So this is the 5th year now that the water's been contaminated.
What are they doing as an alternative?
They did, well, originally the state made Cabot, who was drilling in the area, provide drinking water, so they put big 550-gallon tanks. We're going to go by there and show you, and then they would come by every day and fill it up. They paid somebody to do that. It was $100 a day to top it off. That's $3,000 a month per house, 11 homes. So think of that, $33,000 a month for a non-issue. And they had Cabot do that for 2.5 years. On November 30th of 2011, the state, after Governor Corbett got in, decided they didn't need to do it anymore. So they left them with that kind of water coming out with no alternatives. So we begged for them to, hey, reconsider. Nope. So when we knew their water was done on November 30th, I called Matt Ryan, the mayor of Binghamton, because we met him at a DEC conference hearing, and I said, can you help us out? And he offered to help. He called the Dimmick Township on that day, on November 30th, and said, I'm willing to use a water truck. It was winter, so he doesn't use it anymore. He said, I'll bring it, but I have to do a mutual aid agreement, just like you have to do between everybody when you're, and this is across state lines. And we had all these mutual aids from the flood that had just happened here, the big floods. So they, he offers it, and they basically tell him, no thanks. He went, what? 2 days he tried to get them. These people ran out of water. They got filled up the last day on the 31st, which is a Wednesday. 48 hours later, they're all out. So the groups here, some of the groups right here, all pitched in and brought a water truck full of water for them. $1,500 for one water trip from New York City. That tells you what water. Turn on your faucet in New York City and it comes out nice, but when it doesn't anymore, you're in big trouble. Try and get replacement water for 17 million people. That's a little bit different thing. That's why the Delaware River watershed, as far as I'm concerned, is off the table. I don't care. And if the Delaware River watershed, as far as I'm concerned, is off the table, then the entire state of New York. And here's why. You can't pick and choose who gets to be a sacrifice zone if you don't know.
Off the table means
Don't touch it. Don't touch it. You know, that's the largest unfiltered water source in the world, really. You know, that goes right to people who, New Yorkers are proud of their tap water. I'm from Southern California. Nobody likes their tap water there. But the key is, when your water changes, we expected the state, because you know who's at the scene of every crime? The state gives the permits to drill.
What state? The state of New York?
Pennsylvania. Yeah, the state of New York will do the same thing. The DEC or whoever's the permitting process will do it. So the key is, when your water changes, we thought, okay, Houston, we've got a problem. I say Houston because most of the companies drilling here are from Houston. Houston, we have a problem. And then you would expect some regulatory authority to come in and do something. They don't. They left them hanging. So what did they do after this? I bought a truck. I brought my own water truck with a flatbed truck. We put a water buffalo in the back. We got a water hydrant. We'll show you that in town. And we had to start doing the deliveries. It was costing $100 a day for them to do it. It cost us about $500 a week. So we got the price down real good. Here's why we did that. I live here, 15 miles from Denver, but I can't watch my neighbors have contaminated water. I've got the paperwork showing the water is contaminated. The state found them guilty and they signed documents, I'll show you, by the CEO saying, we did it, and then all of a sudden they didn't have to do anything. It was ridiculous. So what we found out what happens when the water goes bad. You're now the victim, you're the villain. Right down the street, we'll introduce you to the Mannings. They went from the victims, their water went like that, and then the industry, Williams, WPX, they turned it right on them and said, it's your water pump, it's your water well, it's a flood, it's whatever happened. They blame the victim. And I don't know how you feel about blaming victims, but it's really piling on the victim.
With the idea.
That's it. So we don't consider ourselves victims here anymore.
Very good.
We're not victims. We're going to change this. We're going to make a change by changing things in New York, by introducing you all to it, and everybody that comes here, Vera tours people every day. We're going to change their mindset. My mom's from Oswego, New York. I'm a 5th generation New Yorker. They're not going to do to New York what they did to our beautiful area here. My grandmother's family's been here for 100 years, right here, right in this area. She was born right on this property, and they're not going to do the same thing right across the line. So we educate. We're not legislators. We're not going to change it that way. That's why I got Arun Gandhi involved, because we turned this into a civil rights and peace movement. This is a civil rights and a health issue and everything else. By doing that, you take all the pressure off. We don't care what you're doing that might bother somebody. Don't do it. We all have individual rights. So that is what you'll see. We're going to introduce you to people who have that coming out of their water right now. And no filter will fix that. Vera knows. They put filters on saying it fixes it. Every one of them, their water turned black coming out of their faucet after just a short period of time. So it looks like it's going to turn out beautiful.
Yeah, nice day.
I wanted to say hi to you though.
This is senators from New York. EID is filming us. Across the road.
We were buying ours home, so we were renting for the first 10 months, I believe we were renting, and then it switched over, and then, but we didn't, I mean, this thing was erupting. I have actually my camcorders in the house, I charged it so you could see what it was doing. We found out that the reason it was gray, it was spraying out, like with force, the water. Let me go get my camcorder because this will explain.
Oh, sorry about that. This is they have to have deliveries every single day. We might see a delivery, but they come around 1:30. They have the industry has their trucks that come in, stainless steel trucks, and they deliver water here every single day. Top it off.
But why does I don't understand why they deliver the water if they say there's nothing the matter with it.
Because they say that they're
Because
they say they're being good neighbors. That's how they want to. They say they're being.
Tammy's going to show you.
Water if they're saying it's not contaminated water. Why are they
Good question. Because our methane levels, they're being good neighbors. They're being good neighbors.
That's what they say.
Nothing wrong with
Their
your water.
wellhead right over on the other
That's
side.
our wellhead, which is behind the water bubble.
That'll get your attention.
Sorry? No, but they said that there's
And
nothing
that's,
wrong. Absolutely nothing.
Well, they say it's natural. They say it's natural,
The
pre-existing.
DEP suggested that they help us.
That was a nice thing.
So what happened
You
there?
have a well.
It started erupting. It was
And that's-
high levels of methane. Here's my water test.
And she has a water.
So you have a well. You don't have a you're not on a well. It's not. She's not on town water.
No,
You don't
we don't
have
have
water. You
water.
have your
We
own
have
well.
town water now.
Yeah.
It's delivered to us.
Where was your water well?
Most people have their own
Right,
well.
Right here.
where that white stack is.
Where the white stack is, yeah.
That's the wellhead right
Yeah.
That well was from before we bought the place. This is a brand new well back here. This
Right
one
here.
right back here.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. And most of the county is on private wells. You know, most of us have private wells. Most of us have private wells
Stack, but it had a little
in the
cap on
county.
it,
Yes.
and it was shooting the water out the gap here.
Okay.
That's what you were seeing.
All right, now I got it.
And now this has to be put on to relieve because of the high methane. It's the
Super high
pressure.
methane buildup, and
If
if
you-
they left their water on in the house cracked, it wouldn't do that. But the problem there, it was releasing the methane into the house. They had the highest readings the environmental guy's ever seen, 86 milligrams per liter. Oh wow! It'll blow up over 15, I think. So it's now the problem is even worse when it's releasing here, because methane stays low, so they have to bend it up like that. And think. It floats over there. Here it's too saturated. It will not light on fire. It has to get to be 85% air and 15% methane. But about right there, throw the cigarette butt out. It goes down there, and then this whole block goes up in the air because of the amount of methane built down. When they came, the industry wanted to tear their water wells. They wanted to tear it all apart. They were blaming the water pump. They were blaming everything except for that. Well, the problem is they took the top off of it, and they were going to put the vent pipe, but instead they started taking everything apart, and they had left the power wire for the pump detached. So when you see that video, there was no pump working. But they'll blame it on the pump. They blamed it on Salt Springs Park where we just were.
They'll say it's a pre-existing condition. Now, when you look inside there, it was all bubbling and boiling. I have videos of that. When it was open, I put my camera in there. It's actually boiling like you're boiling water. That's how much methane's in there.
Right before that? What was something put down, like a new well?
Oh yeah, we have new wells. They're all
Hollenbeck
fracked and
and
drilled right,
Diffuse were the
yeah, right
closest.
on both sides of her.
The one
She
we were
has 2 well sites on both sides of one on each side of her, and they all have violations for bad casing and spills. And then in December of 2011, these homes got affected. So it was after the
Fracking.
After the fracking.
Both
Yeah,
sides
fracking.
of the fracking. Yeah.
So they had already several wells on both sides of them.
Yes, statistically, 6 to 9% of all well casings fail immediately, and about 15% by the next year, and by the end of 50 years, they will fail. It's all man-made material, and that's the reason that they will fail eventually.
Right. And the
but-
concrete they use and the
but
steel.
Casing is the failure rate is extremely high immediately. So I guess that's why that happened immediately.
Yeah, they both
Well,
had
they
to-
actually have violations for casing failure on the DEP sites. It's on the record. You can actually access it publicly.
How about the radon levels? Have you seen?
Very high. We have the highest radon in the country here in northeastern Pennsylvania.
Has that always been the case?
Yeah, we have a lot of radium that's deep, but by poking holes, you're venting it up instead of staying down and coming up through the ground.
So have you seen an increase in it?
Yeah, the radon shows up in the water. A lot of high tests for radon will come up. Radium or radon comes up in the water. So
The southern tier has the same problem. All of the southern tier counties have 4 picocuries per liter or greater average in homes, and the shale gas is naturally much more radioactive. So any shale producing layers are going to have more radioactivity, and nobody is measuring that.
Right, they're not measuring hardly
And
anything.
for the most part, they're not measuring home
I
radon.
just want to get a sense
The
of,
other problem is
see,
the
there
gas
was
that's going to come into the houses.
gas was on both sides.
On this side, gas. Well, actually, now there's even more. But when they started having trouble, it was there and there. Now they're surrounded.
So what do they think
Hold on, I just want
was the reason for, I know, gas was, but what actually happened to...
I
We don't
wanted
know.
her
It's-
to tell you what
She was just telling me. I
Yeah,
want
what's the
to
reason
hear.
is
The
they're
senator-
investigating. That's why they're trying to investigate. We can only
all
assume.
the centers stay with him.
Okay.
But they're not required until they're requested. They're just doing it out of good graces.
We were talking about the fact that our representatives haven't even been here. Sandy Majors is like 5 miles down the road. She's never been here. And when she was running for re-election last year, I got a phone call from the guy that was running against her, and he asked me if I had ever spoken to her about this. Well, she had called me, and she had called me on my cell phone, which it's not a published cell phone number. She had my cell phone number. She called me to see if I had refused the water buffalo because she had heard from the industry that we had refused the water buffalo. Well, what had happened was our attorney and the gas company's attorney were going head to head. Our attorney had told them to stay off our property, and they considered that water deliveries as well. The reason our attorney had told them to stay off our property is because when they vented our well, they had to disconnect the wires inside of our well to put the vent on. When they hooked the wires back up, they left the main power wire bare and exposed and shoved all those wires back into our well casing. And we had 82% methane coming out of this well at that point in time. And they almost blew us up. They turned the power back on. They told us we could use the water if we wanted to that night. They had just vented it. Well, we didn't have water. And the next day they came back and they said, we want to test the integrity of your well. And they took this off. And I said, well, are you going to determine why we didn't have water all night last night? And she said, no, you should have had water last night. And I said, we didn't have water last night all night. From the time you left, we did not have any water.
Tested it before they left.
They didn't. And when they came back that day, she calls her well experts down to look at the well and figure out what's going on. And Vera was here. We had video of our well bubbling inside. It was like at a full rolling boil. It wasn't on. The pump wasn't on. And they kept telling us that it was. Well, then the well experts come down and they tracked the wiring back to the breaker box and then back out here and took a tester and touched the bare wire, and it was the main power wire. They had never connected. They had never capped it. They shoved it back inside of a metal well casing and turned the power on. 82% methane coming out of our well. What could happen there?
Is that flammable?
You know?
It's explosive.
Explosive, yeah.
This is what we had in our water, 58.4 milligrams of methane
In your water
in
supply.
our water supply.
What else do you have in
Anything
there?
over 4 is considered a problem.
54.
58.4.
Follow up with you later on. I know Senator Perkins wanted a copy of her letter. Yeah, we can get.
What else is in it? We have
Get everything.
Pennsylvania.
She's in a lawsuit, so there's something. Some things that I've got copies of.
Well, why
Yeah,
isn't the DEP some kind of power to
All the other stuff.
force them
Because of the Halliburton loophole. Because
All the different exemptions.
they're exempt from clean air and clean water.
No, I was going to ask.
I put this together for you guys to contemplate because these are all things that we're we just, how are you gonna be able to go by the health impact studies?
Email it to everybody?
She doesn't do
I
email.
don't have a computer.
She doesn't have a computer.
You can take
So you want to do
that.
it? Was one
I
of your-
just wrote
one of the
copies.
senators could make copies.
I
Or
wrote
I could do it and send it to you guys.
questions.
You want me to do it? Yeah. I can send it
The
to you.
health impact study. New York's waiting on the health impact study. Down here we have Act 13, which forces the doctors.
We don't have a health impact study.
No, but we do. And if you're waiting on ours
You
to
actually have
determine whether
health
you
impacts.
have,
But we don't have a health impact study. They're working on it. We don't have a health impact study either.
we have Act 13, so you're not going to get anything from
Yeah,
us.
we're getting nothing. We don't have no study. That's
You're not
just
going to get anything
You know
from
what? He
us.
doesn't know what Act 13 is either.
Act 13
It's
forces
brand new.
Doctors have to sign non-disclosures to treat patients that have been exposed
Whoa.
to chemicals on the well.
So if
What
you,
kind of politics we got up here?
Exactly.
actually, two states,
Non-disclosure?
two states
People
have
come in
that.
with an asthma attack and they say we can't say where it comes
well, only if it's connected with industry. If it happens to be connected with industry, if I understand it
from.
correctly.
Non-disclosure.
They may have to sign something if the industry is going to give them information.
Well,
What's going on?
What
Can you-
happens is, if it's called secret information, and if your patient comes to the emergency room and has some issues that you think you need those chemicals, the names of those chemicals, you can ask the industry, closest well site, to disclose what the chemicals potentially are that are impacting that person. It's not going to necessarily tell you, but potentially give you.
Listen to this. You're a parent. You go to whatever this hospital is. Your child is suffering from severe asthma or some other kind of related problem.
Or a skin condition
You
from
think
the
you're gonna
water.
accept non-disclosure as to the chemicals or whatever else is in there that's causing you to go crazy, your kid to be
The
sick.
parents don't have that information. You see, industry keeps it as
I know, but
proprietary
what I'm trying to
information.
say, if there appears to be a correlation between the illness and the industry, then there should not be a non-disclosure clause. Because it's almost like
You would
it's
think.
almost like
It's the case across the United States.
wow,
Doctors have the
that
oath,
sounds
and
like a
it doesn't
federal
apply to
issue.
their oath.
It is.
Well,
It is, and the EPA does turn
They're
around.
breaking through it.
That doesn't
They're
make
not
any
trying
sense.
So
to-
How you
Act
gonna get- how you
13
gonna have
says that if a
people
doctor
poisoned and
gets
then
that
not disclose what
information,
caused the poison?
they cannot disclose
And they
that
also
information
sign
to anybody else,
confidentiality
even if it's a
agreements
public
when you
health
have
issue.
a landowner that
Yes.
has
But
a
how you
problem.
going to have a confidentiality
Then,
agreement that
you don't get
that
the money if you don't sign the confidentiality.
You know how you
how do
override
you
it?
allow a
Can't share it.
confidentiality agreement?
That's what that shouldn't be allowed.
Right, I feel non-disclosure should not be allowed. I'd like to see them out.
We have a survey.
It should be
What's
transparent.
causing your illness?
ATSDR should be
That
made
should be
aware.
And right,
You know how you
what's-
fix it? You call a senator.
it took about 9 months to get to this point. And you can hear the noise from it. I have a noise meter that I carry around with me. And the noise I tested across the road was up to 60 decibels. So I'm going to see what I can find out about the ordinances. We do have some noise ordinances. Now this is a small compressor station. Our smallest, there are about 2 compressors on it. And then they go up to 12 compressors on the
I
site.
was recently in Dallas, in Texas, and Calvin Tillman took us on a compressor station tour. Let me tell you, this would fit inside some of these other compressor stations. They were so huge.
Well, this is a baby, I call it, the baby.
Yeah, we
How
really
many
got
horsepower?
sick just being
They're
near.
usually about 1,600 horsepower per compressor, so there's 2 here, so I have to look up the specs on this one.
What happens?
Isn't it 12,000 mini-sinks compressor station?
I don't know, I forgot, I don't remember. That's bigger, it looks bigger.
6,000.
Yeah, I think it's
2 okay, you're bigger.
Vera, what happens when they do a blowback?
Oh, then you hear all kinds of noise if there's a blow down.
Blow down.
Well, tell them what you should be telling them.
Yeah,
We don't need to know.
Okay, so can we have Cecile, is she here?
They went back to get a picture in front of the barber sign, so it should be.
But anyway, this is Williams controls this. They're all fenced and barbed wired. You have pipeline you can see behind you. That's all new pipeline with the erosion controls, the black socks, and the indicators. And then you have pipeline up this way. There'll be other pipelines probably coming in here. This is a new station. The gas, it serves about 50 gas wells usually, approximately, for something this size. But we now have 26 permits pending in our county, and there'll be more. There'll be at least double that. Every 2 to 4 miles, I'm seeing compressor stations.
How do you know they have 26 pending?
Because I went to the county seat, and I asked the Planning Commission. We have our county seat right there, 15 minutes south of here in Montrose, and you have a department called the Planning Commission. And I asked him, the director, how many permits are pending right now? How many have been applied for? And how many are being built? Right now we have several being built, at least 3 that I know of. So right now we have this one just been finished. And they're allowed to have tons of emissions by law. So out of those stacks, if you had a FLIR camera, you have VOCs, you have BTEXs, you have formaldehydes, all kinds of things, benzenes,
Right.
nitrous oxides. Oh,
Nitrous oxide.
they're all carcinogens.
VTEX certainly. Particulate matter.
And particulate matter.
Exposed to development of ozone, ground level ozone, which is very harmful to the crops. And this is a crop producing area.
That's okay, he could be there.
Will he get sick? He won't get sick, will he, Vera? It's not bad for you.
That would be a good picture if he...
Yeah, stop, Billy.
Well, it's just for a short period, you know. This is, now you see where the homes are. You see how close the homes are right here, 400 feet from the site. That's the closest home.
What do you allow? What's the permissible distance?
I don't know if we have a permissible. Do we have it?
They can let them as close as you allow them.
There is no regulation for how distant.
As far as compressor stations, I don't know. I know about gas sites, 500 feet, but now they can break that too.
You're outside.
You have all these turn-off valves. If there's a leak, we've had leaks in compressor stations. You have to turn off the valves so that the explosion and the fire will be minimized.
How long ago was this completed?
About 2 weeks ago.
Why does it look rusty?
That's already looks rusty. I know. Look at that. I know. They're so cheap. That's what they put. They put cheap stuff. Look at the rust already. Blowdowns. I haven't heard here, but I've heard about the other ones. I'm sure they have blowdowns. They all have them.
No, you're right. Don't do it.
No, we were going to get a video of you.
Yeah.
You just describing this to us if you don't mind?
Yeah, why don't you stand here? Describe it to me.
I just want to get a quick video of you showing us what's going on right here.
See, right now.
Give me 1 second.
You can put your camera down.
You can start right now.
Not looking for that. We know that radium counts in Marcellus wells are tens of thousands of picocuries per liter. And that's extremely carcinogenic. So those kinds of testing protocols have to be in place. And yet, our DEC says there's no problem with the radiation.
Right.
And then you told them this is a 24-hour-a-day exercise.
This is a 24 hours, 7 days a week operation. And you can see how close it is to homes. And we have a farm that's doing dairy.
How much are people getting paid? Those guys on top of those...
you can ask them.
$30 an hour, probably.
30 an hour?
Could be, yeah.
Are they union?
Now these guys that drive the trucks, supposedly $18 to $22 an hour. When I asked them, and one was willing to tell us. But you have
mortality rate in workers in this industry is 8 times that of the average job in the United States.
That's good to know too.
The younger the person is, the higher the chances that he's going to die on the job. Most of the deaths occur in transportation, or the other large part of it is from falling around the drill site because of inexperience.
Yes, we've met people that fall off those tankers. You see that there's all that dug up soil there? That's all new pipeline. See the pipeline right there? All dug up. That has to connect now through all the countryside.
The green is the pipe?
The green is the pipe. And then they have to connect to the compressor stations up the road and to other pipelines, gathering lines, transmission lines out of the county.
There's 2 gentlemen
Now this one
week.
says fresh water. Do you notice that one says fresh water? Yeah. So is he bringing fresh water into some of it? Maybe they're bringing fresh water.
Can it be misrepresented?
Yeah, Ray who's out of town, he drove a truck. They had him put residual in the fresh water, which is illegal. Now you can never put fresh water in again. But then they said go ahead and run a few loads of fresh and dump it in the pond, the holding pond, which is supposed to be clean water. So he quit because he was trying to blow the whistle on him.
But there you have fresh water they're bringing in, and then residual. There's a combination of things going on here.
It says fresh water. It's receiving fresh water or it's giving fresh water?
He's giving it, because you can see how it goes. See, he's unloading. You see how the truck, the wheels are down? If the wheels are down, it's full. If there's the other wheel is up, it's empty.
But there's only one freshwater truck.
Now this one's residual. Why is he?
All the others said residual.
I know. Why is he right next to the fresh water?
That blue guy is residual too.
I know, the blue is residual. I know, why is that happening? But can we get an answer? We ask them questions and everything is pulling teeth. Why can't you just answer questions? We have a legitimate question here.
Thank you. We got it on
Everything
film.
says residual except for one.
Right.
Now they'll put tape over it.
I've seen them put tape over these things, but this one doesn't have tape over it. And they're all different companies. You see the names? Dozens of companies.
Matter of fact, Vera, yeah, get that on.
I'll send it to the DEP. They're covered. The freshwater truck GDS. GDS in the middle there, second one in the 559 said freshwater, but it's surrounded by residual trucks, and they seem to be filling them up.
Can you see from that end? Can you get the fresh water? Can you get that if you go way up there?
Maybe, yeah. They're hooking up over here. They're filling up these tankers. And is that fresh water being filled up with residual? Is it marked properly? Could one of them be just for fresh water in the whole group of residuals? Can't see the fresh, but it's the second truck, the second red one.
Stomach.
No.
He was flashing his stomach.
Was he really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Looks like he just flashed his stomach at us. I didn't see it, but Larissa just saw it. You can see all the tankers here. They have millions of gallons of residual waste from every well that is fracked. They have millions of gallons. And you can see it on the DEP site or marcellusgas.org. For this site, TEDIC, T like in Tom, E, D like in David, D again, ICK. Look it up and see if they have the waste reports yet for this site. I know the farmer here, Mr. Tedic. I used to live on this road. I will ask him if I can go on this site. Since the gas companies don't want us here and even ask any questions, they have to go directly to the gas company and get their version of the story. So they're looking over there. And you see the frack crane right here. And all the pipelines going in. All the pipeline. See?
I went all the way up there and I couldn't see.
No, it's blocked. But we saw it.
Look at this operation.
Isn't this amazing?
Oh my gosh.
Every one of them looks like this. And look at the, this one's close to the road. Otherwise they're up in the long roads in the woods. This is very close to the road. And you see the pipeline going up? Look at all the pipeline.
Yeah, look it up there.
And we're going to see more as we go up there and the compressor station in 54 acres. Susquehanna. So she wants to move. Rebecca lives on this road. We passed the White House with the columns, the big White House.
Oh yeah, the columns.
Yeah, she wants to move. She put the house on the market, 70 acres. Nobody bought it, but they're keeping for the royalties. But she wants to get out of here. She feels the health impacts. All the hundreds of trucks now. This is the second pad. There's another pad behind her months ago.
Oh, you know what?
Now that one's leaving. Residual waste, it says on there. You see how they're all connected? Mm-hmm. And that's the farm right there. Look at these guys. This is, you see, this is Rockford. This is the pipeline guys. Oh, Oregon plates. They have plates here from all kinds of states west of us. Most of the workers are from out of state, out of the area.
Well, those are the ones who are making money. They're sending all the money back home.
Yeah, back home.
And all the local people are being displaced because they can't afford the rents that these guys can
they can't afford the rents. I can't afford the rent. I can't. I looked around for a rental. I had to pay at least $700 if I want a separate, like a house, a separate building without an apartment. And it was $700 to $2,000.
Yeah.
Look at it. See how they look at you, and this is the senators, 3 senators from New York. Did you walk further up to go that way?
He has to go. No,
you can walk this way, and you can see how this site looks from this way.
Back.
We have to take him back?
I walked down already.
You did?
So we're going to do the drive-by at the compressor station.
Yeah, we'll do the drive-by and then take him back, to his car?
Yep. We're good, and then...
Disgrace. And
so what does this one say?
This is residual.
Does it say residual? Let's see, this little fresh water coming from here. Fresh water coming from where they're bringing all the residual trucks, and it was there getting whatever they're doing there. Why is fresh water on here? Leaving the site as the GDS, and here's their little security truck.
I said, you need to get some skin in the game. I said, do you have a gas lease? No. Pipeline on your property? No. Are you living where this is going on? Nope. Buy a property. Get in the game. I go, you're renting somewhere. What fun is that? Watch your value of your property. Endemic, all the homes, all 19. Value